Good. Okay, so Annie Lola,
I just want to ask a question, brother. Can you just let people know in Boroloola? I know I was there 26 years ago, and there were issues there with contamination in the sea life there. But also too, the infrastructure of Boroloola is being broken down. You were saying that the minister came to you to talk about a lease, and we know that a lot of other towns have been closed down because of mining. Can you just let the audience know what Senator Scullion said to you in regards to that? Because they know they want fracking there.
Yeah, Boroloola, we had Nigel Scullion came down and he went to the school, at Boroloola school. I'm one of the school council too as well. I went to the school council meeting and met with Nigel Scullion. And there's about $15 million for housing in Boroloola. But Nigel Scullion won't release that money until our mob signed 99-year lease over that land. And I said to Nigel Scullion that we're not going to sign that lease. We're not going to do that. We're not going to sign the 99-year lease. You want to hear the good part?
Yeah.
He said that if we don't sign, if no one don't sign the lease in Boroloola, he's going to pull the money back. Now that's blackmailing Aboriginal people.
Yes. Whitemailing.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Whitemailing.
That's what I should have said, yeah. Because he's bad, that fella.
yeah.
Someone else?
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, way up the back, sorry. Yep.
Unless you want to hand it down.
Yama, Bo Spirit, Gumara Kuma Marwari, people with Bubbly, and also Brother Nathan. I'm sure there's more Gumara people in the crowd. Two questions. Could the mob on the panel talk about the effects that you're living with now from the Macarthur River mine, but then also some other effects that he's living with, and then also the effects come 10, 20, 15 years from climate change, due to rising heat levels, rising sea levels as well. That one's open up to everybody as well. So the effects you live with, what are they due to mining, and then also the future impacts of climate change. What's heat going to be like for remote communities? What's the rising sea levels going to be like for some of these remote communities?
Yeah, no, we already seeing what happening in Boroloola already. Like, we have this bush calendar and all that sort of stuff, in a community. Like, we have these flowers grow every springtime, and it tells us when all the animal is fat, and all that tells us when the best time to go out and hunt. We're for sea turtle, dugong. That's our bush calendar. That tree with that flower. So they're flowering a bit late now. And even all the bush tucker are starting to grow a bit late. Yeah, they're coming out late. See, these are the things that we're recognizing it already in the community. It's happening now, right now. We can see that. And all the mangroves are dying out in the sea, at Boroloola, at the Macarthur River, at the Carrington Mouth, and at the Crooked River. You can see all that mangroves are dying. So we're already experiencing that. We're already seeing that. Water contamination, we're seeing all that already.
Sorry. Sorry. I was going to say, are you still fishing?
Yeah. No, we fish maybe about 30 or 40 k out of Macarthur River. We don't really eat them fish down the river because back in 2014 we had this independent monitoring mob came down and they tested all that fish and that. And they said them fish were poisoned, but they told us to only eat little bit of the fish, not too many. You just imagine how, you know, before the mine was there, we ate a lot of them fish, too many of them. But now we're told to eat few of them, not too many.
And then the future effects, you know, due to climate change, from the white forest on that right now.
Future effects.
How they want
Naomi? Yeah.
Yep, so a bunch of white fellas at CSIRO have been looking into what the impacts of climate change will be in the Northern Territory, particularly in that top end area. And CSIRO say that a dangerous extreme heat day is when you get over 35 degrees and over 70% humidity. I don't know who here has been to the top end of the Northern Territory or Queensland or Broome or, I mean, yeah, I didn't realise how hot it was going to be until I got up there basically. And it is like, you know, it's the humidity and the heat is totally extreme. At the moment there are about 21 days a year that across that top end area in the Gulf country, it's over 35 degrees and over 70% humidity. And that's a lot, and that's increased. Talk to anyone that's lived there a long time and the temperatures have already gone up about 2 degrees on average up there. But CSIRO are now saying, and this is probably conservative, that by 2070, so you know, plausibly within our lifetime and certainly within our kids' lifetime, there will be 275 days a year where it's over 35 degrees at 70% humidity. And that is almost, well, it's basically unlivable, right? So if communities are going to be able to stay and live on country, we're going to have to really stop climate change from getting any worse and any more warming. And we're also going to need to have communities that are supported to be able to access air conditioning and affordable energy, which is not the case at the moment. And a whole, like in Darwin, the fishers are talking about the fact that barramundi won't even swim in that water near Darwin anymore because the temperature of that water has now risen. And in Darwin, those fish can't go down any further. You know, that's their water there. So, you know, the impacts are already there. It's going to get a lot worse. We absolutely need to be taking all the action now. And the fact that today was the due date for a climate discussion paper in the Northern Territory, where they're basically mapping out the fact that first the INPEX conventional gas is going to make emissions go like this, and then they mapped shale gas fracking on top of that, and their emissions are going like this. And like, it's just unfathomable that they would even put that out for something to talk about. Like, obviously that's not the way to go. So yeah, good question. It's already really extreme up there. We need to do everything we can do.
Adrian, do you already see the effects with wet season or any of the other seasons now due to climate change and these other, you know, effects of mining?
Yeah, we've already seen all that. Yeah, that's why we worried about if they have fracking there, because all that toxic water waste. I mean, toxic water where they put it. I don't know whether they're going to put it, store it in a tank or in the pond, because I know they got a lot of toxic pond up there, and we have massive wet up there, and that's going to flow right across that country. Yeah.
Lead. Can you talk about the contamination with the lead and what the authorities are doing about that?
Well, about that water contamination we had up there, up in Boroloola a few months ago, that went viral on Facebook and social media, you know, I mean, that ABC, everyone's seen that. But anyway, we went and asked mob at the clinic, asked them if they can do a test on them kids. We want to test, you know, find out if they got lead or manganese in them, because that's what he had in the water, lead and manganese in it. And we wanted them kids to be tested, but still they didn't test them kids. So when you look at it, it sort of looked like a cover-up to you know, to that community. They're covering things up, yeah. See, this need to come out and open, and you know, it's hidden in the darkness. That's why we need to fight to bring that out to the light and let everyone know. But still, our kids never been tested, or any of our people never been tested. because we don't drink the water at Garoa 1 anymore. We drink it over in the town area because they got new big filters and that, and new bore. They had to put it in Boroloola, but not at where we live at Garoa 1 camp, because that's the main area that we had water contamination at Garoa 1 camp.
I just have a very quick question. The guy with the microphone's gone. With reconciliation. This gentleman here.
The microphone's, sorry.
This gentleman here mentioned that last Tuesday, the Beavens and other people were invited to see a documentary. Are we able to see this documentary now? Because it would really be helpful to see something in film. I really feel that. If not, can we maybe plan it for another day that everybody can see it?
Yeah, that particular documentary is being launched, as far as I know, in February. So they're just testing it with a bunch of people to see how they can improve the final cut. And they're very keen to make it an activist-y film so that people could walk away from there feeling that they could undertake activities to help the issues that are raised in the film. So that was why we got to have a look at it. But February, as far as I know, is when it's going to be launched.
Okay,
Can I just
clarify, that film will be on the 11th of December at Amnesty's.
That's right.
And you can get information on the table, a preview of it.
Can I just quickly just say, 3 days ago was the hottest day Cairns had ever had, 42.7 degrees. I can't imagine what being in Cairns in the build-up at 42.7 degrees is like, but I imagine it was bloody awful. And the whole of Queensland is burning in unprecedented ways. And the Senator for Queensland today, Senator Matt Canavan, the Minister for Resources, told us all that the Adani mine will improve climate change. So it's all okay, because the more we mine that coal, the better things will be for all of us.
Okay, before we move on from that, is Brother Bo, you've said, yep, you good? Yep. All right, we've just got to make sure that our mob have got a priority and have finished saying what they're saying before we launch into the next thing and close up. So Annie Teresa would like to have a question.
It's back to the water bit again about the fishing and stuff. But I was just wanted to know, so is this connected to the money that Nigel Scullion gave to the fishing association up in the Northern Territory? You know, he's underneath a lot of pressure now for giving a lot of money away to different organisations, you know, and a lot of it's somehow been spread around everywhere except for us to be self-determined and fight back and get good outcomes and stuff like that. So because I'm a saltwater person and I can see what they're talking about, the impacts of the fishing industry. So we have a big case. I'm a claimant on a native title, goes from Bundeena right through to Eden, and they're going to have issues around cultural fishing rights, you know. But I heard or read something somewhere about the fact that one of those organisations that was given a decent cut of funding was the Northern Territory Fishing Association or something. I was wondering if you knew, or if somebody knew, to give me a bit more information on that.
Well, all I can say, I think our housing money went there now. Because we were supposed to have housing in Boroloola, but Tony Abbott came along in Boroloola and wanted to give us a house from 30 years old house when we were already living in a 30-year-old house. He wanted to bulldoze our old house that we lived in it for 30 years from in the 80s and want to give us a new house from 30 years ago. How silly is that?
Can I just say, when I was there 26 years ago in Boroloola, I went to have a shower up there. When I came out of the shower, that had the most purest water, and I used to do double showering because I couldn't believe, after living in Sydney, how the water was on your skin. And to what's happening now with the contamination, it's just unbelievable. when you're in a place like that, that can be paradise, and this is what's happening up there. There's another lady there.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll have someone on the side here, in the front, second row. Yep.
I've been active in Stop the Intervention Collective, so I'd like you to speak about whether you think the intervention will ever end, or stolen futures, because it should be ending in 3.5 years, and has there been any writing on the wall up there in the Northern Territory?
Well, I reckon we can end it if we all unite together as one and put a stop on all that, and even, put a stop on everything like fracking and ore mining and everything, what this government has gone against us with.
So there's no discussion on that?
Not yet, yeah.
Fallen off the agenda.
Okay. Do we have another question? Oh.
I just wanted to let everybody know that in fact the Northern Territory population is only 250,000. There are 25 members in the Assembly. And 250,000 is less than Blacktown in terms of size. Now those 225 members in the Assembly have incredible power, and they have multiple, there are 9 in Cabinet, and 6 of those 9 are whitefellas, and they all live round Darwin, and their electorates are only 5,000. Now it seems to me that us, us whitefellas, I'm a whitefella, and those of us who are experienced in activism, that we can, and particularly with those CSIRO figures, we can start writing to these members and tell them just what they're doing. Because, I think it's a big shame job we can put on the Assembly, the Cabinet. And don't forget that Gunner they're in Cabinet because Gunner said there'd be no fracking.
Yeah.
Uncle, there in the Koori flag shirt, the cap.
Yeah, hi. My name's Phil Bradley from Reconciliation Western Sydney, and I'd like to pick up on the climate issue again. And we know that we're starting to fry on this planet already. We just had the release of the Heat Watch report, a national launch. In Western Sydney, for example, it's predicted in this upcoming generation, we're going to have a 5-fold increase in extreme dangerous temperatures in the Western Sydney, where we have thousands of people die on those horrendous days. But that's going to be repeated all over the country, and we know that the people worst affected are those on low incomes, no incomes, poor people, and Aboriginal people, particularly in remote communities that are going to suffer the most. We're looking at the spread of dengue fever down from the north, and fisheries moving. There's enormous impacts. But the issue I'd want to raise, particularly in terms of coal seam gas, is the science that methane is actually more than 100 times worse than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas, a climate cooking gas. That we've seen lies for many years. The figures touted by the industry relate to 100 years. In 100 years' time, it's about 20 over a long period of time. It's not quite as damaging in 25 years' time. So I'd like to know if anyone up there has on the panel in particular has raised this issue at the politician level, at the government level, to have it shown that there are lies out there about methane gas. It's extremely dangerous. It's much more poisonous as a toxic greenhouse gas anyway, and we need to challenge those industry figures and recognise that natural gas is probably worse than coal mining as a global warming gas, but coal seam gas leaks all over the place. It leaks not only in the wells. The industry might talk about the well leakage or fugitive gases as they call it, but it leaks right through the pipeline, all the way to your home when people who have gas turn on the gas, and some of that escapes. It's extremely damaging. is not clean, it's not renewable, and future generations deserve us to ban coal seam gas and gas as well as coal mining as soon as possible and get on to renewable energy. So I'm just wondering if any on the panel know that have we taken up the challenge about the lies about coal seam gas, all the other problems it presents, obviously to groundwater, to country, damage to Mother Earth, they're all important as well, but from a climate change angle alone, we must challenge the false lies that are out there.
One word answer, yes.
That's it,
As Unky said before, in, out.
United Nations figures, they're back. 100 times worse over 20 years.
Yeah, man. So I've just we've been sort of beating around the bush here. There was the last three sort of questions that weren't. They were sort of just statements. So I just want to get a show of hands here. How many people have been out to the coal fields or the gas fields in this room right now? I'm just asking a generalisation. Have you been to a gas field? Okay. How many have you been to a coal mine, a pit? How many have you put down everything and sacrificed everything in your life and strapped yourself onto a machine? How many have been responsible for carting 20 elders and young people through the bush to lock on? How many of you know of Indigenous people? Everyone should have their hand here because there's countless. How many have you have lived with Indigenous people? All right, so that there, you know. Another boy here with the hat. We talk about going and being whatever, you know. Indigenous people only make up 3% of the population, you know. 3%. Let's hit home with that. It's a numbers game, people. You know, we've all got to come together to be the 51. You know, I know where I stand. I just wanted to sort of just draw that line a little bit more, you know, because I have a responsibility, a cultural educational responsibility. Not only to me, my people, but guess what? To you as well. So that's what it's about. It's about a culture. You know, it's about a mindset. So I just want to get to that point and then put it back to my peoples up on the board. What would you like to see us do to benefit you in this fight?
I reckon coming up in our town, and if worse come to worse, do a big blockade. That's the only way.
Come, public. Go, Uncle.
Hello, bro, sister. If we're going to stop this mining and the fracking, all the brothers and sisters in this room, we all got to talk one voice, and then we'll stop that. We'll stop it. If 1 or 2, 3, 4 talk, not enough. Not enough. All of us talk one voice, we'll have them shut up. We'll lock them up. We'll stop them. No fracking.
Bevan, go on, Bevan. You little shit.
Just want to let you know one more thing I forgot to tell you. Just one more thing. This is really serious too. This is about the Mataranka mine. Anyway.
Yeah.
The Mataranka mine. So what's happening there is that they want to expand that mine more. They found more minerals there, and they want to expand it more. But a lot of people bailed up and said no. But what this big mining company doing, Glencore, is that they're saying is that if the government not going to let them go ahead and expand the mine, what they're going to do is pack up and walk away.
Good.
and leave the place for us to suffer with it, to us to try and fix it. So what they've done, this company gave the government this rehabilitation money. It's bond money. They gave the government, but it wasn't good enough. It's not good enough to fix that mine. So this is what they're doing now. They're threatening people by doing that. Walk away from it and leave the damage there. That's how they done it over in Red Bank mine. We got another mine there, Red Bank. They left the place. They just walked off and left it. Today, if you go there at Red Bank, you can still see all that river, spring country, all contaminated, running down on the main road. So this is what they can do now. And that's what we worried about fracking. Fracking is going to be more worse than muck out the mine. And we worried about that. They're going to walk away from it too. And leave all the damage for us. That's it. Thank you.
What would I like to see, Nathan? Look, everywhere you look, the only thing that you see that is a problem to everyone's future is Adani. You know, I would like the same type of resources come in to help this mob here. Yeah. You know, who are on the ground. They're at the whole face of it. You know, there are multi-layered levels, okay, to how things happen. All right. I was talking to someone today there where, you know, in the government they get their MOU when they send that out, it happens in one day. Because we are so disconnected as black people, it takes us 2 to 3 weeks to even hear wind of that for us to start doing something. With that, that's been a machine that Adani won for a while now, you know. Whereas what's happening here, they will take that into the community and no one will even hear about it. But tonight, you've all heard. So it's up to you to go out there and talk to your friends and family to get something moving so that we can get these fellas the resources to stand up on their own country and do something. The same as us as Gamilro too. I'm not taking away from our fight, you know, but we've got a bit more, you know. I've got a job and I run my own business outside of the job that I have. So I put money aside so I can do stuff, so I can drop it. I can't drop my whole life. I've got 5 girls at home, 6, 5, 4, 2 and 7 months. You know, so the education that they need to stand up and fight and be woke, you know, to fight for people if they need to when they're at that age, it happens here. You know, we can't move home yet, although we would love to, it just can't happen. You know, my family have nothing as well. You know, there was a story on the town where I was born. 20 years ago it was a ghost town. They called Boroloola. You know, there is nothing there. You know, they have one ATM, it's inside the bottle shop, in the bottling club. So people go in there to get the money, they don't leave. You know, you have those social problems within every Aboriginal community where there's nothing. But those of us here who have a voice, who can ring, talk, do those, you know, it starts at a local level, starts around the dinner table, you know, at a barbecue. Talking to people who walk around with bloody blinkers on, who don't even think outside of themselves, you know. Get into the heart of the person and tell them this is going to affect your children. You know, it's not only mine, it's not only black kids or white kids, it's everybody's kids. Every single person that lives in this country right now. You know, like I said before, it will be catastrophic. You know, if they start that up there, when you see, I've seen the maps of where the APA have got their pipelines, they will build one that is interconnected across the whole country. You know, and if that happens within 5 years, we cannot let that happen. All of us that are here and people that we can talk to, you know, but these fellas here, they need our help. It's as simple as that, you know. Of course, Adani, that has to be stopped, you know, but people who are out in remote communities need our help too, you know. So I'm wanting to go for a drive there, brother. You coming? Yeah, I will.
Yeah, you know.
So who's going to come to the barbecue tomorrow? And who's going to bring their families and people that they know?
We'll see how we go. I've got my 6 grandkids at home, so we've got 11 kids at the moment.
If nobody is busy, like seriously, it is important the importance of this. It basically, you know, if this goes through and this goes ahead, like, there's going to be nothing. There's going to be nothing. So yeah, if anybody's changed their mind, I don't know if you want to raise your hand now or let some of the organisers know for catering purposes. So we have an extra one. Extra one. Yeah. So we've got an extra. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. An extra 7 for the barbecue tomorrow. It's at the front lawn here somewhere in front. Yeah. And if you can bring people. We need to keep having this dialogue. We need to keep having this talk. It's vital. It's vital. So we have got yeah, and then
I just want to say, okay, like we're living though, we're trying to live, we're trying to survive, and now we've got this issue, and it's going to be common all the way across because it affects all of us. Like many things that are happening all the way through our country affect us, but this is, to me, sounds like what my mob would call the point of the spear. So we have to find the point of that spear, and we have to get behind it, and then everyone has to fall in line. And if we got this issue that's happening, many years ago, I can't help this, I always do this when I'm in a big place like this, but I was 20 years old when they did the bicentenary. I live at Botany Bay. We have to watch Captain Cook's ships come back in. And there are 28 houses out there on the mission, and all our people along the coast, because we're the contact peoples, we're seeing him come all the way up. Anyways, when we knew that was happening, I felt fear in my stomach, scared, knots started, forming. Anyways, coming closer to that day, we heard there was old people that passed away and people might not be able to come. But basically what happened was on the 26th of January 1988, everyone turned up on every point of the compass that could get there. And even though we only had 28 houses, we weren't alone, we were standing there, we had a big mob. And they all walked back through the streets here with us. The biggest mass action, and that's when they called for treaty. And there's an old lady, her name was Mum Cheryl, and she's standing up on the hill with toilet rolls. And she said, "Don't listen to them, my people. They talk shit. They're not going to give you a treaty. I belong there. Do not stop fighting, because this is about the dispossession of our people." Your brother said, we never ceded our sovereignty. We still have sovereignty. Everything that's been done to us is illegal, and because we've been oppressed and pushed down. But you see, we are the true believers. We protect our mother, the Mother Earth that we have to live on. We are not colonisers. My kids said a joke the other day. They said, why did sorry if this offends anybody, but I just thought it's, just to line it up. Why did the white fella cross the road? To colonise it, right? But we don't think that way, because we've got to share, we've got to live together, And this stuff that we're talking about is going to affect all of us. So if this is the point of the spear, then reconciliation, with all due respect, because we've been looking at internal reconciliation, how do we get unity to fight? Reconciliation is number 339. Are the deaths in custody? The Royal Commission into deaths in custody. And they're gone, out the window now. So, but there should be no there should be no reconciliation without justice. And so the people need to fight again. And I just wanted to tell that story because you're not alone, brother. Everyone will be listening.
We might just have one more question, just one more. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Hello.
I don't come from this country. I've lived in Glebe for many years, 40-something years. I left Queensland because I couldn't see a future there for myself, but it wasn't about myself, it was about the children. And also, my father is from the Biri people. They said Biri Gubba, but Dad said, where'd they get that Biri, Biri Gubba from? He said because it was always Biri to him and he could speak 4 languages. He was born in 1907 on the banks of the river in, at Strathmore Station, which is out near Collinsville, Nebo. And the mining that's going on there, that's where Adani's coming through to, it's horrid. And Dad and them were taken away and locked up at Yarrabah and escaped from there. Did a runner with Grandma. Then they were caught again and locked up. That's just outside Cairns, Yarrabah. Then they were caught in 1918, and that was the cyclone that hit the Mission Beach, and a lot of the Aboriginal people were held there in holding place, detention against their human rights. And a lot of people were killed there. And then they were locked up on Palm Island, which is 100 years of detention, and the Nauru and, fighting, all the human rights were taken. So Granny's Kanju woman, up from Cowan, Cape York, and it breaks your heart to hear what's happening where you live, and because this has gone on for too long, and the intervention is part of this ongoing breaking down and the killing of people and our grandchildren. And the thing I wanted to ask was to put a challenge out to the politicians or these liars and whatever they are. They all shut their mouths up when they go in there because they go to party lines. To put a challenge to them to go and live with youth within those communities, if you want to have them there, but to experience your everyday life, but for them to live there and go and eat those fish that are poisonous, to go and be in those areas that are affected, but to live in not just in a upkept way by other people that look after them, but to be challenged to go and live there and experience your day-to-day life, not to impose on you, but to get the feeling and the environment of where you live, where you lay your head, where you go and want to go and fish where you can't fish again. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, because they talk about it, but they never go out and go and walk with the people and to talk and know how people are feeling. And it's not about feeling, it's about the death and destruction of our Mother Earth. So it's, and I've been ringing family up in Queensland. The fires are just amazing. And there's 41 and 44 degrees in Rocky. And there's a big mine next door to Rocky, and it's Mount Morgan. And it was a gold mine for 100 years. And it's a big pit, and it's full of acid. So if you throw anything in there, it disintegrates. So I don't know how these fires and the way they are going, and the cyclonic, they're like a cyclone fire. If that ever hits a pit that's full of acid, it's going to be catastrophe. It's going to be like a big bomb. We're creating our own nuclear bombs and whatever, you have Mataranka. But I want to say, we feel in our hearts for you, and and love to you all, and we'll do our best to fight and support you, and it's we need to get them out there and get them to be see. And not just a week, they need to go for a month or 2 months if you could put up with them.
I've just got to check with the organisers, but do we still have time for another question?
A statement?
Up until, so we've got time, okay.
Can I just say something too? I mean, I work in the media, so I'm on the front line of the war zone all the time, and it's very frustrating for me to be in that position. I don't know, some of you know me from Black Chat, and it gets overwhelming for me because eventually these become all my extended family right around the country. So whether it be a death in custody, whatever it may be, it affects me. Like tomorrow they're having a big tombstone opening in Cairns tomorrow for the 8 children that were killed. But going back to fracking, what we've seen in America, we've got Ireland, France, Germany, Bulgaria who have banned fracking. But what's happening in America is from the fracking, there are other areas that are opening up, other holes that are opening up, and what they've been calling, you might know about it, is volcano, it's kind of like mud volcanoes, and they're coming close to towns. This could happen in Boroloola. And they're not making people aware of these slides that are coming out, and it's because of the gases that are coming out of the ground. I think it's in Indonesia. It's been going on for a couple of years. It's just continuing flooding. And this is what can happen with fracking once they start doing it, because then the Mother Earth opens up and she can't handle the pressure anymore. So it's bringing out all the muds here, and that could happen with towns in New South Wales where they're losing it. In America, they're going, oh my God, what are we going to do? So what they're trying to do is create other holes and dig down so that they can release the gases in other places. Otherwise, their towns are being threatened by actually imploding into the ground. So it's a really serious problem, and we're actually seeing it around the world. But what is it for? It's for a very small percentage of people to make money. But we're supposed to be the food bowl of this country. What happens when they make this place a mud hole? We're already finding mandarins and that from California, strawberries from South America, fruit from everywhere else. Aren't we the food bowl? Even China has bought land in Western Australia so that they can have vegetables and fruit to feed their people in China. So what's going to happen to us? What's going to happen to us when we have to eat foreign food that we don't even know if it's contaminated or not? It's really scary when I go into the supermarket. I'll go to the markets if it's from Queensland, because I'm a Queenslander, always will be maroon, but I can smell it. I can smell it, and I know that it's natural fruit. But what we're getting down here is not natural. And we're seeing cancers, we're seeing autism, we're seeing all these diseases that are coming out that were never before, unless it's alien. But, I'm really concerned. I'm a grandmother. I am a grandmother. I am a grandmother, and there's a lot of grandmothers here and great-grandmothers here. And, what is it there for our children? What is going to happen if we don't fight and help? And especially our mob in Boroloola, like I said, they're amazing people up there. These are the historians of this country. They hold the stories of not just in our time, but they go back over 60,000 years. We've got, Bevan here, who's going to be the next generation that is going to be carrying on this, and he has a huge responsibility. Uncle here, who's never ever spoken out before, he runs cattle. Maybe we should just get all the cattle, Uncle, and just drive them to Canberra and just flood the place. Just open the doors of Parliament House and let all your cattle in there. That's all I just want to say. It's just that I just get really frustrated because I'm hearing all these stories, and when something happens in my brain, just the things just flood out of my brain, and I have to release it. So sorry if I may have spoken up too much, but I just have to.
Thank you. We've got Sister Girl in the back there, all the way from Melbourne, Nigel. Yes, come up for healing our spirits this week. Yes.
Thank you for everybody sharing. I'm Corey from Gippsland, and I'd just like to say that sometimes the decisions that are made within community, our Aboriginal mob, are not always right. Sometimes a dollar is bling, bling, bling. The pipelines went through in Gippsland, 2016. They are redoing the pipelines. They've thrown money into education. Nothing about health. Nothing about all our mob. Majority got mental health issues. I've got 4 children. 3 of them have got language delay, occupational therapy. They're classified as disability. I believe that's from the foreign foods the foreign waters. And when I drive down that freeway onto country, I get to this hill and a part of the road. I'm like, I'm nearly on home, nearly country, nearly healing. Then you go further down and you see all them gas. It has to be affecting our people. Our children are suffering. Our elders are suffering. They are the most important, our elders and our emerging. It's wrong. It's disgusting. But my people signed off on a RAP 40 years ago. We're now called Gunai Kurnai. There's six nations, with 5 within that district, in that area. Our tribal names, land places, yeah, there's 5. They put a wrap around us. We're now Gunai Kurnai. There's the money there, and it's just going into education. We have to fill out them dirty white forms for our kids to receive money for their school fees, their clothing. It is ridiculous. We have to sign all this paperwork when we've got to go to the doctors for our children. It is disgusting. We might as well have freaking chips on the back of our necks saying we're black, we're dirty blacks, because that's how they treat us. It is disgusting. And I am so sorry that you fellas are going through that. I'm so sorry for that. And I hope something can be changed. It needs to change. And it needs to change now, because I would hate to live. I'm 40 years old, nearly. My children, my oldest being 14, youngest being 5. I would hate for them to be standing and fighting still for change for our Indigenous people of this country, First Nations, and we are treated like lower than low. Why is that? Let's start a coup. Let's get all them nationalities together. Let's start a coup. Because I reckon Africa, they got back their country. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you. So we're just going to hear from Uncle Gabriel, and then we're going to wrap it up. And I think is there still feed out there?
Yes,
Still food. Everyone's hungry. Ladies want to feed.
Just the last one, I just wanted to let you know. Like, you know how she was talking about the big wet we have up there. We not only have big wets up there, we have cyclones. So far we had cyclone up there a couple of times already, but only category 1. But because of this climate change thing and all this warming, we don't know what it turned into category 5 or 4 and what all that old 30 years old house out of there where we're living in. That's what we worried about. And he could pick up all the gas or every all the lead from the mine and wash it down from Makata mine. That's what we worried about, because we have cyclone as well up in the north. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. I would just like to say personally a big, big thank you to everybody, especially the panel here. Big thank you for everyone tonight for making it.